Hi, I'm George Jensen, lead pastor at ECOG. Thank you so much for watching this episode of What's Up With That, where we answer questions for skeptics, seekers, and believers. Here I am in the park on a beautiful spring day, and you'll notice in the distance behind me, there are young people playing baseball. Baseball, soccer, football, sports in general, those are all wonderful recreational activities for youth and children. But what about this? What do you do if you're a Christian parent and your child or your youth is forced to play sports on a Sunday morning? And if they don't, they could be banned from the team. How do you handle that? Now, for those of you that are skeptics or non-believers, you may say, well, what's the big deal? For us as Christians, this is a very important matter because Sunday mornings, when we meet with our respective church families, this is a key time in our children and our youth's faith formation and discipleship, if you will. So please understand, if you're a skeptic, this is a very important matter for us as Christians. So Christian families, Christian parents, what do you do about that? Well, one thing that I think is very important is for Christian parents, especially those that have a leadership role in youth sports leagues, is to take a stand. Take a stand for what is right. ECOG's very own Patrick Simcox, who is a parent of young children and also a coach of a sports league, recently testified on a Sunday morning at the 8 o'clock and the 10:15 services of how he took a step of faith, and he said that no, his team would not be practicing on a Sunday morning, and if they did have to be away, that they would offer a worship devotional time for those that wanted to participate. Let's take a look at Pat's testimony and what he had to say at ECOG that Sunday morning.
The ones that don't know me, I'm Patrick Simcox. I have two children, Aiden and Alexa. My son Aiden is really involved in baseball. I coach both a Little League rec team and I also coach a travel ball team. So travel ball is very big into practices and it's the elite players. So, the Little League, you have anyone and everyone that comes out and we try to teach them the game and they enjoy it. Travel are those kids that spend a lot more time on the field, a lot more practices. That usually goes into Sunday mornings as well. So this year, I was able to have my own team on the travel. I was a head coach. One of the things that I do is I will never hold a practice Sunday mornings. I think it's extremely important that anybody that wants to go to church, anyone who wants to worship, they have that time. Also with travel, we do go out on weekends. So there's times that people will still miss church. During that time, I was going to be holding small devotional worship time for anyone on the team that wanted to join. So Pastor and I talked about this a little bit, and we were talking about when I was going to come in and talk and how to tie it into the message. And this week, it was very difficult, but also extremely happy at the same time. And that's because God's been in our lives this entire week. Now, Pastor doesn't know much about this other than he wanted me to come up and talk and how I refused to make my kids miss church. That's what he wanted me to talk about. When Tuesday, he had contacted me right before I was walking out my door to go to a meeting. And was just making sure we were all set up about this weekend and that I'm going to be ready, and advised me what his message was going to be. So Tuesday, I leave for the meeting. I was fired as a coach. I was fired as a coach because of accusations that were incorrect. The president of the organization doesn't really follow faith. Just left me and 3 of my other coaches go. So this entire week, we really struggled trying to get this team back together because my thing as a coach is not me, not my son, but every boy that's on my team. We had a little mustard seed that we planted, and every single one of these boys, from the time we started this year with them, 10 of the 13 boys that were on my team followed me. We were able to get another organization to take our team in. That little bit of faith that we had, that seed that we planted in every single one of those boys, every single one of those parents, it showed this week. We sent an email out. Within 30 seconds, my phone was blowing up. I had parents calling me, are you okay? What's going on? What's going to happen? God this week, and I can say, yeah, that guy fired me. No, he didn't. God let me get fired because God put us into a better situation than what we were. He aligned our team to what we wanted for our boys, to keep that Christian faith in them, to take that little seed that we planted and just grow tremendously. All these boys enjoy the game of baseball, but still stay in their faith and worship God. It was an amazing thing this week for him to truly be in my life and bless us. Within 2 days, 2 of my coaches and I, we got an organization to be able to take our team in, get us insurance, get us registration open, and have all the boys register and be covered under insurance. Another thing with us leaving that organization, we spent quite a bit of money for registration fees, every single one of us. We put a lot of time into fundraising. Our team raised thousands of dollars to be able to participate in tournaments. Within 2 days of us getting fired, getting a team, we also have 3 sponsors out there that's also looking to help us, because when we left that team and got dismissed, none of us are getting our money back. But God stayed in our lives, and we have 3 people that's sponsoring the team to allow these 13 boys to be able to still participate in tournaments and not lose the money that they put into this organization and the team. We had a gathering yesterday, and every single one of the parents, they were so thankful. You can tell that that faith that we started at the beginning of the season has grown to this point, and it's only going to grow further. I think it's extremely important to keep the kids in church and in that faith. And whether you're able to make it to church on Sunday morning, or in my cases on some weekends I will be away because we will travel, we'll have a hotel stay, but still have that time to worship God.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Taking a stand of faith. Maybe, just maybe, if more Christian parents, especially those that are in leadership in sports leagues, would take that step of faith similar to what Pat did, maybe, just maybe, we would see a crack and an eventual crumbling of this huge barrier, which is a huge problem for the faith formation and the discipleship of our children. And that's what's up with that. Hey, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we do invite you to ECOG, where we believe that God has called us to be a lighthouse of His, guiding people to salvation and preparing people to face the storms of life. Won't you please come and join us and be blessed?